Hello and welcome back to another episode of MovieFellas, a podcast where a couple millennials with little to no knowledge talk about film, both classic and current. I am your host this week, Matt Rosenberg, and with me as always is my co-host, the one, the only. It's Haste, guys. He's back.
As always.
As always. How you doing, Haste?
I'm doing better than I have been, so that's a positive.
Good. You were snacking.
Real quick.
It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. Don't let it happen again, young man. What were you eating before the podcast? Because you were snacking on some delicious
dried cranberries.
Some cranberries and craisins, right?
Craisins.
Yeah, craisins, dude.
Craisins
I love me some craisins. Dude, I love me some craisins. Far better, far superior to raisins, in my opinion.
Definitely. No doubt.
Yeah, you duh. All right. All right, guys, guy. Plural.
Or gal. Because there's a girl out there that's heard this podcast.
There's probably someone who's heard this before. Let's get right into the news. Okay. I'm sure you've seen this being a comic book fan. There's an R-rated reboot of the Hellboy franchise that may start filming this year. It just got announced a couple days ago.
I think it was yesterday, actually. I think it came up on my news feed on Facebook.
Yeah, it's going to be called Rise.
If you don't, I follow Nerdist on Facebook.
I should probably.
Yeah, they do a lot of. That's where I found the release dates for Star Wars and Indiana Jones a couple weeks ago.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's going to be called Rise of the Blood Queen. So that's I don't know who the Blood
title.
Queen is.
Oh gosh,
but I don't like. Have you read any Hellboy? It's Dark Horse, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Have you read any Hellboy?
Actually, I'm not, but I did enjoy the movies.
I thought they were great.
Really good.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro did a great job with them. So I'm sure a few people are sad that Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro won't be coming back for that. But Ron Perlman's kind of getting up there in age, and
and that's one of the main arguments I saw about it, that people were trying to justify it. It's like, wait, he's like 70 almost.
Yeah, he's like in his late 60s, I think.
So by the time they got into doing more sequels, which if they're doing a reboot, they want to do more than they did with the first Hellboy, because they only did 2 movies. If
it was Hellboy and
Golden
Army.
Then Hellboy 2, the Golden Army.
Yeah, you got it. You're on point today, Haste.
Those movies were freaking great. I loved them.
They were good. They were really good. Anyway, it's gonna be starring David Harbour, which is the sheriff from Stranger Things. So
wait, he's gonna be Hellboy?
Yeah, he's gonna be Hellboy. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I support this movie 100%.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job.
He fits the role so well.
Absolutely. Not like physically, I think he definitely does, but I think he's got kind of that gruff kind of feel to him, you know. Anyway,
the personality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If he doesn't have to adapt like the whole sheriff from Stranger Things, but if he just gets like that little bit of wit that he had in there, really, I can see like the connection between that and Hellboy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Neil Marshall is going to be directing, which I had never heard that name before. You know, bear in mind, I'm not like a connoisseur of directors. I know quite a few, though. He's done directing on Game of Thrones, Black Sails, and Westworld, which I actually watched all of Westworld, and I really enjoyed that.
Is that something you'd recommend?
I would. It's, again, to any young listeners out there, it's, you know, there's some inappropriate stuff in it, so you might have to fast forward past some parts. But the plot itself is really, really intriguing.
Cool.
Yeah, and the cast is amazing, especially James Marsden in it. So it's really, really cool, dude. Yeah, definitely recommend that.
Cool.
So I think it sounds good.
I'm looking at getting into.
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it, I say.
Okay.
Yeah.
One quick question before we go into the next thing, just out of curiosity for Westworld. From the looks of things, it kind of looks like a bit of Black Mirror influence. Is it similar to Black Mirror in content?
Not really. In the basic sense of technology and it going too far, I guess you could say it's kind of like Black Mirror.
But it's not like shock factor disturbing. That was my one big problem with Black Mirror that really struck me the wrong way. It was over shock value.
I read an article and it's like why I don't watch Black Mirror. It's because there's always a twist, and it's kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan film. It's like you're just depending on the twist, which I I don't think Black Mirror always does. I think in some cases they do, but I think that there are some good episodes of Black Mirror and there's some great episodes of Black Mirror.
Well, I think not. I know this is not something we really ever get into, but me as a person, like stepping back after watching, I think I binged like the first 5 or 6 episodes of the series.
Right.
I just kind of felt dirty after watching it.
Right.
I never, in all my like years of watching TV and movies and stuff, I've never really felt like convicted of content that I viewed, and Black Mirror just really struck me wrong afterwards.
I think it's
so
because
that's just me.
There's an essence of realism to it that the filmmakers kind of push in there, even though it's sci-fi. Like the characters are so real, you're like, oh man, like I can really see that kind of maybe happening, you know, like, and that's I think kind of how I felt after certain episodes of Black Mirror as well. So yeah, but you know, yeah, watch Westworld. It's good. It's
okay, cool.
It's kind of another kind of show along those same lines is called Humans, and I think it's a British show. It was based on a Scottish show called Real Humans. Anyway, it's on Amazon Prime, and dude, it's really, really cool. Humans is really cool. It's also kind of disturbing in that kind of weird sense, but yeah. Anyway, get into that.
Yeah, British television has a thing for that.
That's what Black Mirror is, dude. It's
yeah.
Them they're weirdos. No, I'm just kidding. If we have any British listeners, I'm sure you guys are great people, which we probably don't, unless my friend Nathaniel's listening. Then hey, Nathaniel, you're great. Okay, moving on. All right. Oh man. Okay. Jeff Goldblum, and this is kind of older news, but we haven't done a podcast since this was announced. Will return to the Jurassic franchise as Dr. Ian Malcolm. What do you think of that?
Oh, hold on a second. I need to throw my keys across the room.
Okay, there you go. Just throw them. Do you throw them hard? Where did they land?
I did. On the chair next to my desk.
Regular Greg Maddox over there.
Edgelord 360 over
360
here.
no scope.
All right.
No,
yeah. I don't. I'm not really sure how I feel about it because I feel like,
well, if you feel
from
any
his
other
experiences,
feeling but amazing, then you're wrong.
My one problem with it is, after his experiences, his character's experiences in the Jurassic series, you kind of think he'd be like, "You idiot! Stop this right now." Which is
exactly what he's gonna do.
This is the worst.
Like I feel like that's exact. Like I just because I guess they've. I don't know who's directing the second one. Let me look that up real quick. But I guess they've discussed that the next one isn't going to be about a park, you know, getting overrun by dinosaurs. Again, the next one is finally going to be. It's going to be Bayona. I think it's Bayona. Anyway, it's going to be about dinosaurs and humans kind of trying to coexist because they exist, you know, in this world. And so it's like about them trying to coexist. It's not going to be another so-and-so overran so-and-so park and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So
hold on one hot second. I have a great comparison to that. This is essentially going to be the real-life version of We're Back, a Dinosaur Story. Which, if you remember, was a film from the 90s, a cartoon movie about where these dinosaurs come back to life and they turn into a Broadway musical.
I don't know
and
what you're talking. Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah, it's the one about like the tap dancing T-Rex.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then at the end of the movie, they get turned evil back to their primal ways, and that part scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Oh man, well, we know now.
That is the best comparison I can ever make between two things. I'm done. I quit. That's it.
You were done with the podcast.
No more.
Episode 9 completed.
I have completed my purpose in life just to make that comparison.
What? You can now die happy. Oh man. Yeah. That's probably the closest thing we've ever seen to it. John Goodman was the star of that, so that's pretty good. I didn't know you knew that. He was the Tyrannosaurus.
Was he the T-Rex? Yeah. I remember that now.
Okay, so great.
Next
I'm
piece
not
of news.
done.
I'm not
hey, listen, all right, I'm not done with this awesomeness. All right, Jeff Goldblum, for anyone listening.
I've made all what needs to be
Jeff
said.
Goldblum is a national treasure, okay?
No, Paul Rudd is a national
They're both
treasure.
national treasures. I love Paul Rudd.
Okay.
Jeff Goldblum
he's
honestly he's the best part of everything he's in though. Like Independence Day Resurgence was not good, but Jeff Goldblum was great. Like, he was the best part of that movie.
He was like the redeeming part of that movie.
And so,
which even still isn't saying much.
Anyway, okay, it wasn't very good. But I think it's great. I think it'll be cool because he's gonna be like, "What are you guys doing? This is the 10th time it's happened. Like, just kill all the dinosaurs. Like, just gosh."
Yeah. Like, seriously, cut
he's
it out,
gonna
guys.
he's gonna be the Han Solo of the film, who's like pointing out how stupid everyone is, like in the movie.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
But Bayona was the director of The Impossible, which had Obi-Wan Kenobi and new Spider-Man, British Spider-Man in it.
Andrew Garfield and Ian McGregor
and Tom Holland. Tom Holland's also British, in case you didn't know.
Wait, Tom Holland? Oh, I thought it was Andrew Garfield.
New.
I thought you meant like the
double new
the
Spider-Man.
iteration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
I got you.
So I've heard The Impossible is great, and then A Monster Calls is a dark fantasy movie. I wanted to see it. I still haven't. I know Liam Neeson voices the monster, and it looks like Sigourney Weaver's in it as well. Anyway, both of those films were really, really well received by critics. So it looks like it could be a solid directing effort, and Jeff Goldblum's back. So I'm on top of it, bro.
Yeah. Oh, when you're done with your news, I've got one more thing I want to throw on, but
I refuse to let you talk the rest.
Okay.
Remember, you finished your point in life. Your point was to make the correlation by the dinosaurs
between Jurassic World 2 and We're Back at Dinosaurs.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay.
Classic.
All right, this isn't. We've got a couple pieces of news that aren't technically movie news, but who cares? You can't stop me. I'm a loose cannon. All right.
I like media news, as long as it doesn't involve the Kardashians.
This isn't the Kardashians. It's worse. Not this part. The next, in a couple parts, it's gonna be worse. All right.
Jeez. Okay.
All right. FX is making a Deadpool TV show with Donald Glover. This is an animated TV show with Donald Glover in the lead role.
So he's gonna voice Deadpool.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's like a really clever way to kind of
actually really clever.
Keep interest for the character and get like a big name actor to not pay him a ton of money to actually play the character, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and at the same time, I feel like he did Atlanta, which was a fantastic
I need to get into it. I've heard
show.
amazing things about
Atlanta
it.
was great. But at the same time, it kind of gives him some room to do kind of like his childish Gambino humor in rap,
exactly,
in his rap music. So the thought of mixing those two together is just, especially because you get like that because the internet stuff that he did, and throw that behind Deadpool, and it makes sense. I like it.
Yep, I like it too, man. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun. I think it will be very fun. Okay.
Yeah, and FX can get
That's
away with
what I
a lot
was
of stuff
thinking,
too,
but they
so
probably
that
won't
just
be as vulgar as like the film, you know? So
Oh,
they
no,
won't depend on
no
that
way.
kind of vulgarity to be funny. They'll just have to make witty jokes, you know?
Probably a lot of toilet.
Yeah,
humor,
which
to be
is what
honest.
Deadpool is.
But that's
exactly.
Deadpool. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, Legend of the Sword is doing very poorly with critics. It has like 16% in Rotten Tomatoes. And listen, I'm sure everyone expected it.
I'm a little honestly excited for
Okay.
the movie. I think it looks neat. Yeah, I like King Arthur. It's a story that I feel like it's been a long time since they've done an iteration of it. The last one was the one Keira Knightley was in back in like early 2000s.
Was there a King
mid
Arthur
to late
then?
2000s?
Who was King Arthur?
Yeah, there was King Arthur with Keira Knightley in it.
Was Keira Knightley
goodness,
King Arthur?
No, she was not. Hold on 1 second. I
2004.
gotta look this up.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
I forget.
Let's see.
Have you not seen that?
No, Anton
totally
Fuqua directed it, which he's kind of hit or miss generally. Clive Owen. Oh, Clive Owen is King Arthur. Okay.
Yeah. They said the new one's
Mads
pretty.
Mikkelsen.
They tried to do something a bit different.
My goodness, there's a ton of cast in this. Ton of big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Guy Ritchie. So, like, I mean.
Wait, the new one's Guy Ritchie?
He's directing Guy Ritchie. No, the new King Arthur is Charlie Hunnam, and then he's fighting new young Dumbledore, Jude Law. Anyway, I love Guy Ritchie. I love his Sherlock movies. I love them a lot. I think they're super fun. I didn't love Man from U.N.C.L.E., But he has.
My family loved Man from U.N.C.L.E. I never saw it, but
It's
my
good.
family loved it.
It's an enjoyable kind of nothing kind of film. Like there's no like people make a joke. He's like, people fall off Guy Ritchie because everyone sanded his edges down. Like he's so like there's nothing extra to him almost, which I get. Like he's got a very stylized way of doing action, which I kind of really enjoy, which I think fits the Sherlock Holmes films well. Anyway, so it looks like it's not doing well, but you might enjoy it. I might enjoy it. Let me know what you think because I probably won't. I'll probably just see.
I mean, the special effects
they do look really good.
amazing,
yeah.
So that's one thing I'll take
Get
away
a visual
from it,
spectacle out of it. There you go. I'll probably just still go see Guardians like 2 more times and then see Alien Covenant like 12 more times. No.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited for Covenant. That is next weekend.
Exactly. Speaking of, Alien Covenant seems to be doing relatively well with critics. I think it's got around 78% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. So critics seem to be liking it fairly well. That being said, Prometheus, I want to say, did around the same with critics. It was relatively well received, but a lot of the fans hated it.
And then it came out and people seemed to kind of hate it.
A lot of 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of the fans just seemed to kind of just not like it, and I think that's primarily because it didn't really feel like an Alien movie. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I saw Prometheus before I saw any Alien film at all.
Same.
So I liked it a lot. Like I thought it was really enjoyable. I own the Blu-ray and I'm gonna watch it, and I'm excited for this next one. I think it's gonna be good. So
definitely.
All right.
All right. Is this like really bad piece of news that I don't necessarily want to hear?
This next one? Yeah. This is it. This is the.
Okay, just give me a second to get myself nice and depressed. So I have a feeling of what's coming my way. All right.
Do you know who Abby Lee Miller is?
No. Give me a movie or something that she's been in.
Do you know the show Dance Moms? With the girls?
Yeah, the old lady that's really mean. Yeah,
so she's going to prison for extortion or embezzling or fraud or
that really doesn't surprise me at all.
Stealing money or misleading tax holders or whatever. Anyway, this is why I'm including it because I typed in movie news on Google to just get some movie news and the keyword popped up and she said she's going to pretend that prison is a movie and that it shoots for 10 months, and that's how she's going to get through it.
Is that legal?
She's just going to pretend it's a movie. She's not actually...
Is this going to be like the musical Chicago?
What?
I get the feeling she's going to be like Chicago 2.0. I'm so stoked for this now.
Anyway.
My body is ready. She's just going
to pretend it's a movie, and I guess that's what's going to get her through, which, you know what? Do whatever you see fit, but that's dumb, and you're an idiot. I'm glad you're in prison. No, I kind of am. She seems like the most mean person, doesn't she? Like, my mom used to watch that show when I was growing up, and I would always think, like, why do you watch this? She's like, oh, I just like the dancing. I'm like, you like the drama.
If you want to watch dancing, watch Dancing
with the Stars. Yeah, that lady was so
where there is
mean.
No, drama.
Oh, my gosh.
I wish I could say I'm surprised about it, but I'm just not.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. She's a terrible person. Oh, man. Oh, what are we going to do with the world? All right, so this last part, really, just, it makes me regain hope in humanity, this last bit of news.
Oh, so you knocked me down, so you build me back up again. I approve.
Exactly. That's what I do in life. I make people feel terrible about themselves so I can make them feel better. It's really a selfish thing that I do. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson himself has stated that he could possibly eventually run for president one day. And I say, #The Rock for Prez, and that's Prez with a Z. Go for it. Do it. We all want to see it. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a national treasure.
I don't know. After seeing Fast 8, I'm not sure. And after seeing the trailers for, oh gosh.
Baywatch.
Baywatch. Yeah, after seeing the trailers for Baywatch, I'm not so sure.
Oh yeah, but he's a cool. Like he seems like just the nicest guy to be around and He just seems real personable. Anyway, I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Dwayne for Prez.
No, that is,
all right,
that is
anyone
funny.
listening, hashtag The Rock for Prez. That's Prez with a Z. Get it around. Let's get it
trending.
The Rock for Prez. All right.
And you have to, if you do that, you have to include MovieFellas podcast somewhere in there, just so he knows his rise to fame and presidency is us.
If Dwayne The Rock Johnson needs anything, the highest paid actor as of 2016 last year, surpassing Robert Downey Jr., one of the most well-known actors and human beings in the world. If he needs anything, he needs us, the MovieFellas podcast, with 8 subscribers on YouTube, to get his support.
Hey man, some channels don't even have that. So I mean,
we're two away from double digits, man. Like, I'm trying not to let this fame get to my head, but I tell you what,
your ego's already up there,
hey,
dude.
all right, listen, man. all right. That's it with the news. We want to give another shout out this week because a guy we actually went to school with, Mr. Parker Sutherland. If you're listening, Parker, what is up, brother?
I saw his comment.
Yeah, he commented on episode 8 last week, and he said, "I think mint ice cream is delicious. You guys are hilarious. Keep going." So we mentioned mint ice cream in some context. I can't remember what it was. Do you remember what it was? Something to do with
to be
honest,
yeah. I don't even remember mentioning mint ice cream in there. You guys were
insulting me, and Adam's like, "You probably like mint ice cream."
He probably likes mint ice cream. There we go.
And I honestly, I'm not sure if I've ever tried it because it always sounded gross. But anyway, Parker, thanks for commenting. Thanks for listening. Parker's a great guy, and we just appreciate all the listens.
Yeah,
absolutely. That makes me super happy as well. All right, Haste, you ready to get into the main topic of this week?
Yep, I'm ready as
That
as I'll
might not be ready enough because this week, Haste and I both saw the follow-up to Guardians of the Galaxy. We saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, directed by James Gunn and starring a whole bunch of people. So,
which you put out a review for on our channel
yesterday. I did. That is right. I put out a about 4-minute review on the MovieFellas podcast channel. You can check that out. It's just me giving a basic summary of the film, what I liked, what I didn't like about it. It is not a spoiler review, so you can listen to it if you haven't seen the movie and kind of get a judgment on what I think of it, which I am going to be a lot better about doing those. I'm going to be doing one for Alien Covenant. I'm going to be a lot better about kind of the bigger, generally probably more blockbuster-ish films. I'm going to be better about kind of doing those reviews for. So listeners, be looking out for those. I'm definitely going to be doing more of those. So, because I got my studio set up, and this view, I actually had too much lighting on me, so my face looks really washed out.
Yeah.
Do you notice that?
Yeah. And plus, I think the light just kind of makes your head look a little big.
No, my head looks enormous. And it was also the angle, too.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, not to be mean, but your head kind of looked massive in that video.
Vin Diesel size.
I'm glad we can agree.
It looked Vin Diesel.
Oh, jeez.
Can you imagine if I was bald at that point? I would have just looked like... I think I would have formed into an egg and just...
There would have been no separation between your neck and your head.
Yeah, it's a work in progress with getting the lighting and kind of camera angle and everything right. The quality isn't bad. It's in 1080p, so... and the audio isn't either because I used a nice microphone, so you guys won't have to worry about that. But be looking out for those whenever kind of the bigger movies come out, and I'll kind of keep you guys updated on what movies I will and won't be reviewing. Okay, so this week we saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and just real quick, spoiler alert, if you have not seen this movie, stop listening, pause it right now.
Unless you really are like some
unless
kind of
you're
weird
Adam Norris,
this
the masochist Adam Norris, who just likes watching.
Actually, what if he actually is going to see it?
Yeah,
this
well,
weekend,
he's going to see it Saturday night.
Maybe he hasn't read the plot.
Maybe. Oh man. Anyway, so just go watch it. It's a good movie. It's a blast. So go watch it and come back and listen to the rest of this. So spoiler alert, you've been warned. So let's get into it. All right, Haste, give me a summary of this movie.
All right, so we're looking for space dads this time around, and Star-Lord's like, man, I wish I knew my dad, and and then he realizes at the end of the movie he's surrounded by dads all the time, and it's just a wholesome family fun movie where they make dirty jokes
That
all the time.
it's probably the best. I mean,
I'm really
that's
proud of
great.
myself
I
for
think
coming
that's
up with
gonna
that
be a
on like
new
off the
thing. I'm
cusp.
gonna be like, hey, Haste, give me the summary, and like that's just I'm gonna be ready for whatever you give me. So yeah, like you said,
Oh, I just almost spewed water out of my mouth.
Blastoise, use hydro pump.
Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. I almost
Oh
died.
man, who am I gonna have?
Oh my
to do the
gosh, it's
podcast
really
with
hot in
me
here all of a
then?
sudden.
Adam will just have to come on every week. Oh man, every other week rather.
Oh man, that was a great review on my part.
All right.
Man, first I'm on a roll tonight. First the dinosaur story, and now this. This is really like my last podcast.
This is your swan
opus.
song. Oh man,
Exactly.
Haste, you are just
Okay,
on a roll.
okay.
All right, so essentially, the
let's go.
Guardians in this movie are guns for hire. They offend these gold people, and they run away, and they are helped escaping by who's revealed in trailers. Everyone knows this as Ego, Kurt Russell as Star-Lord's father. Now, Haste, what did you think overall?
Overall, it's definitely not my favorite Marvel movie. It's not
so
my
you hate
least
it.
favorite.
Like that.
No,
I mean, that's how
not
the
at all.
internet reacts, right? You either hate it or love
In the
it.
superhero episode, in the superhero episode, we talked about how like Marvel's got like this middle of the pack bunch of movies that they did. I feel like this is like at the highest end it can be without being like in the like the top tier. But I feel like the problem it's not in that top tier is because it tried too hard to fill its own shoes. That the first one filled. I feel like some parts of it tried too hard to recreate like the natural humor that the first movie had in it. So I feel like that caused a lot of lackluster. And at the same time, I know I complain about this a lot, but I feel like it dragged on at the second act.
I won't disagree with you right there. I really won't.
The fight when they got into the fight with Ego at the end, I was like, this is just going on forever.
That's the third act hot shot.
Well,
so you think the second act dragged into
second
the
act
third
and
act.
third act.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't disagree with you on the dragging part. I think that there were aspects that did drag. Overall, I really liked it. I thought it was a blast. I thought it was super fun. And I think that it's on the lower end of those upper echelons. So when we're talking upper echelon of the MCU, we're exactly. When we're talking upper echelon of the MCU, we're talking Civil War, Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Guardians.
Did you say the first Avengers?
Yeah, first Avengers, yeah. So we're talking in those movies that are kind of universally praised as movies that are just great.
And I'd say the first Guardians
I said that
too.
one. Yeah, so those kind of movies. And sorry, so I think that it's kind of in that pack, maybe not quite at the top. I still probably think Civil War's the best. I don't know, man. I watched Winter Soldier with my girlfriend this weekend, and it is so good. It's just
I think Winter Soldier is probably like the best Marvel movie to date.
Man. Oh man. Anyway, so I think it's kind of in that echelon, maybe at the lower end. So we're kind of in the same aspect. Okay. So kind of moving on from the overall aspect, the cast. What did you think of the cast as a whole? And maybe in particular some, different ideas with some of the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I enjoyed Mantis's character. I kind of feel like at times though her powers were used kind of more of a gag,
absolutely,
than to be serious, which I can get behind because like her powers were kind of. I mean, the first time you hear them, like, okay, yeah, they're a little on the silly side, but I feel like they kind of overdid it a little bit. But I genuinely enjoyed her character, and she played her part. I liked that a lot more of the Ravagers were in this movie. We learned a lot about them and their community, which isn't anything we really got in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
We learn that dark secret about Yondu, that he had been bringing Ego's kids to him all over the years, and that's why Yondu got thrown out of the Ravagers.
Yep.
Spoilers.
And that's why he didn't take Peter Quill, because he liked him, and he's like, well, none of these kids are,
I know what's going to happen to this kid. Yeah. I really like Yondu's character development. I'm really upset with the ending.
Spoiler alert.
In regards to that. Yondu
It's really
dies.
sad too. Yeah.
Yeah, his death was super. Just like I could care less about Ego like getting beat. I was like, man, I'm really sad that Yondu died.
Yeah.
His funeral was really neat. That whole scene was a little
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. I'll agree. I'll have to concede on that. Um, what
Yeah.
about Peter Quill? What about Chris Pratt, the Prattster?
Oh goodness. He kind of had. I know I kind of made a joke about it in my little synopsis at
Uh-huh.
the start of this, but he was kind of having that like mopey. It's like, man, I now have a dad. This is great. And he's like, why aren't you guys happy for me? I've got my dad back, and
Right.
it's just one of those things that I feel like he was really more of. He may have been like the main like focus of the movie, but he wasn't really much of a main
Yep.
character as he
I
was in the
agree.
first one.
I agree. I don't think he got as much screen time, but I still think the
Mm-hmm.
plot definitely revolved around him. I think it's more of a Chris Pratt,
Yeah,
which is kind of funny. I think it's more of a Star-Lord story, but he's not in it as much. You know what I'm saying?
it's kind of like an
Yeah,
outside
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
kind of, and you're seeing it from like all the other Guardians' perspectives, which is a
Right,
good way to look
right.
at it. It really is kind of one of those
Yeah.
things.
What did you think of Baby Groot and Rocket and Drax?
Oh, Baby Groot
I
was
thought
a
he was
great part of the
hilarious. I
movie.
loved him.
I liked his dancing to
Yeah,
ELO at the
Blue
beginning during
Sky,
the opening
Mr. Blue
credits.
Sky. That's such a
Yeah,
creative.
ELO is one
Oh,
of my
really?
favorite
Okay, cool.
bands.
That really is a
Uh-huh.
creative title
Yeah, and
sequence. Like speaking about
no, it really was.
like the James Bond movies and how they have like really creative titles. Like that's just a cool way to open a movie.
Yeah. Again, I know I complain about this a lot, but that was a really long opening credits scene.
Yeah, it
I
was.
know Cinema Sins is going to tear that apart
Yeah,
when time
they
comes.
sure
I've
are.
been watching a lot of Cinema Sins
Yeah.
lately. Yeah. Um, Drax. I wanted to like Drax in this movie so much because he was so great in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of like build off of Mantis, he kind of had that "I'm here for the
Yes,
gag" kind
yes.
of
I
thing.
think that is. I loved a lot of Drax in this movie. I actually loved his interactions with Mantis, like when he's like,
Yeah.
"You're
Okay.
beautiful
I was about to
on the
say
inside."
those their interactions together were the part that I liked about Drax. Everything else about Drax, I could give a
Really?
crap
Okay.
about.
See,
Yeah, he didn't do much for me
I
in this
thought
movie.
that I love Dave Bautista. By the way, he's like my favorite bodybuilder of all time.
Oh yeah, he was great in
Yeah, as
Bond.
like the not talking metal
Yeah.
fingernailed henchman. Yeah, he was great. And
Oh,
and
it
I
was so
thought I
good.
didn't think he was bad in this movie. I just thought that they're like, all right, now just go over the top and laugh as much as you want to, and everyone's gonna laugh because you're laughing so much. And it's like that's not really that funny. I felt
Yeah.
there were points with Drax where they just pushed it really, really, really hard, and they wanted you to laugh
hmm
so much, and you're just like, that's just not that funny. And that there's only
Yeah.
like a couple of times in the whole movie, I think, where that
I think
happens.
the best part for that was when they're on the way to Ego's planet and Mantis touches his shoulder after he's laughing at Peter for
Mm-hmm.
when they find out that he's in love with
Right.
Gamora, and she's like, "I've never felt such pure humor." That
Right.
was good because she just loses
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But then, other than that, he's just kind of like, "I'm gonna be loud and obnoxious," which, from what I understand from the first one, doesn't really fit much of his like
Well,
alien race
I
in
think
terms
that
of
he's starting to learn how to, like, because at the end of
how
Guardians,
to be
he's like,
normal.
finger to the throat means death. Metaphor. Like that's like again, that's
Yeah.
a funny joke. Like he's starting to try and learn how to be funny and to do jokes, and like I think that
hmm
again, there's maybe two, three times where the joke doesn't exactly land and doesn't exactly fit. Other than that, it's really funny. Like it's really, really funny, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely.
So, and again, I love Dave Bautista, and I don't think he's bad in this movie. I just think that I think it's honestly more writing and more directorial decisions. Like James Gunn's now like crack up as much as you can right now, and everyone's gonna think it's, and you're just like, just act, man, just act regular. Like it would be more funny if you just like gave a chuckle and continued on from that 3 seconds of straight laughing. So,
Yeah.
anyway, okay. So moving on from the cast, the overall plot. What'd you think of kind of how it progressed? And we didn't mention the pretentious gold people either.
Oh wait, we
Oh
forgot
yeah, okay,
Rocket.
go ahead.
Rocket was great.
You
He was
think
the best
so?
part of the
Okay.
movie again.
I thought Rocket was great.
Rocket's
My
always
favorite
great.
part was either when Baby Groot is getting him and Yondu's stuff to try and break out, or
Oh my gosh, and he holds up the human
he's
toe.
like, please tell me you have a bag of human toes just laying around there. Like, no. Oh man,
No.
I loved it when he was in the forest and all the Ravengers were surrounding them, and he's just taking them all out.
Yeah, he just has all the traps.
I thought that was so cool, Kevin McAllister style. Yeah,
and when he's had like the electric traps that like blasted people up into the air, I thought, like, I was like, oh great, they're gonna overdo this, but the way they did it was just so good that I couldn't even be mad about it.
Yeah, it was really funny, and I think that Rocket is one of the best parts of this movie. He really is. He's great, and dude, that raccoon effect, man, it looks like a real raccoon. Like and that's. We'll get to the visuals later because everything looks great, but man, I can't get over that raccoon effect. Anyway, okay, all right, so let's move on to the plot. It's different, I think, but the overall plot, and we'll kind of talk about how it progressed and what you saw coming and maybe what you didn't. What did you think of how the plot progressed with the characters and going to Ego's planet and all that jazz?
To be quite honest, once we got to the Ego's planet, I was like, well, I know where this is going to go.
Really?
I was like, man, I know, I get the feeling what's going to happen. He's going to be evil in some sort of way. And yeah, I don't know how, but I'm pretty good normally at, like, if the plot's pretty simple, I'm good at following it and kind of leading myself to where I think it's going to go. And I feel like that was one that was pretty normal.
See, you know, with me, like, I know that Ego's a bad guy in the comics. I don't think I've read anything in a comic book issue with Ego in it, and he's just a planet with a face for anyone who, like, I mean, he can't make avatars like he does in the movie, but I was like, oh well, maybe they're just gonna make him a regular dude because, you know, they've switched a lot of origins. Bad guys have been good guys, blah blah blah. It doesn't really matter anymore. So
yeah, and I thought that's what they were kind of getting to the point of until they went to I made this body. Yada, yada, yada.
And Gamora's like, something doesn't feel right, and then you're like, okay, well something obviously is going on. And I thought it was a lot more interesting than a standard, like, plot. Like, it wasn't Act 1, they're getting together, and then Act 2, something makes them fall apart, and then Act 3, they join forces. It was, they do separate, kind of like Empire Strikes Back style, but they separate, and they have these really, really cool moments kind of being separated from one another, I think. And I really, really enjoyed, you know, the story with Rocket and Yondu. I thought that was really fun, and I really enjoyed kind of seeing Gamora and Nebula face off, and like there was some. I think that was actually one of the problems. I really enjoyed that part of the movie, but
Gamora and Nebula
the tension
story. I think that was probably my favorite part of it. To be quite honest, their interactions and just their humanizing of them, realizing that they were both just pawns and pieces and
exactly.
puzzle.
And I think that was really interesting, but it almost, when it switched scenes, it almost seemed like another movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it got real serious real quick, and then it went back to being funny. And I think that's why I think it kind of felt stilted in the second act, because there were these moments where it's like really serious and great dramatic tension, and I think sometimes they were broken up by these jokes that didn't always land. But again, other than that, the plot's really, really interesting. I liked Ego, but I did see it coming after, you know, the beginning of the second act.
After Gamora was like, there's a problem here.
Yeah,
I kind of was like, okay, this is. I didn't expect the twist that he had all the kids
I was
and
like,
stuff.
that was like so sad.
That was the big twist. That was so sad.
Even I mean, man. Okay, so we'll talk about that real quick. So it's revealed that Ego has been kind of going around the cosmos kind of
He's kind of
exactly
Zeusing
like
it up.
he's having kids with all these other women to see who he can pass on his celestial gene. Because in the comics, Ego the Living Planet is not a celestial, but he is in this, and he needs that celestial gene to be able to kind of spread out throughout the galaxy and kind of control more worlds. And so whenever he heard that there was a human who was able to hold an Infinity Stone, he's like, oh, this must be my son. He must have the celestial gene, which he does. And so he's like, we need two celestials to be able to spread throughout the galaxy. And so he's kind of tempting Star-Lord in this way, you know?
Something that frustrated me was like, okay, if you're an infinite being, I get that you have to come back to your planet, but from the technology in that movie, it doesn't really seem like it's all that hard for you to do what you need to do.
Yeah. It's like, I guess it's a plot point.
It's like you don't really
it's
need
like
it.
A plot point.
Not to be nitpicky, but it's just kind of something
right.
That
and I thought it was
odd.
weird because it's like a plot point because like Celestials are so powerful in the Marvel universe. I think they're kind of making them a tiny bit less powerful because you have like the Grandmaster. Jeff Goldblum's going to be in Thor. He's a Celestial. You have the Collector, who's also Celestial. We've seen a bunch of Celestials, so I think they may just be kind of like an upper echelon of beings in this kind of universe. They're not maybe as powerful, but I thought it was a plot point, you know. But you know, I thought it ended up being well, and you know, what did you think about the reveal that after he had been killing all of his children, he put a tumor in Chris Pratt's mom's head to stop him from going back to Earth because he did, in his own way, love her. Jerk move,
man.
I thought I was just like, it was like I did hate putting that tumor in her head, and the camera just zooms in on him, and he's being like entranced by this starry gaze, and it just zooms in,
and
he just pulls out his element guns and just unloads on him. It's amazing. It's so cool.
I kind of not to be nitpicky.
Just nitpick away, why don't you?
While it makes sense and that's great and all, there's other ways that he could have just been like, oh man, I don't have to go back. She'll be dead in however many years.
Right. And I think that he could, but I think it was explained that like he's like,
he said if I went back,
I would have never come back to my planet. And like that's my point in life. And so it was like he did in his own way, or what he, as this cosmic millions of years old being, perceived as love.
Yeah, I guess when you put it that way, it makes a little bit more sense.
I gotta kill her or else I'm gonna come back and never I'm
gonna kill her because I love her too much.
Yeah.
The plot of the Notebook.
Essentially a plot of like a serial killer who's like or like the guy who killed John Lennon. He thought he was John Lennon, or it's all these people who are like obsessed with celebrities or something.
Gosh, I don't remember the guy's name.
And they end up killing them because that's like the only way to sate their obsession out. This got real dark real quick.
I know, man. But let's face it, the movie wasn't necessarily like the happy-go-lucky we're used to from Marvel. That movie was really funny, rough. Like most of the way through. I mean,
again, at the end, you know, they're getting off the planet as it's being destroyed after they destroy Ego, which he kills his father. It's super sad. Like I felt bad for Star-Lord because I'm like,
totally Star Wars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I felt bad for Star-Lord because it's like you just met your dad, somebody who you've wanted your whole life, and also David Hasselhoff, who he told everyone was his father, and then he shows up in the movie. It's great.
That was a pretty positive point.
But he finally meets his father, and he ends up being this terrible person, and they have to kill him. And then he kind of essentially, he kind of says, you know, you weren't my father, it was Yondu, and they kind of build that in the first movie, and as you see these moments in this movie, you kind of see the moments in the first movie come to more fruition. He's kind of Yondu kind of chastises him like he's his son, and but Yondu ends up sacrificing himself to kind of save Peter. And and it's a cool moment.
That was another part of my movie. The movie that was one of my favorite parts. That whole I've been your dad all along. He's like, I may have not been your biological dad, but I've kept you going this far, and I was like, man, that's
Right.
great. That just I feel like the whole overarching movie was kind of taught the theme of just because your family's blood doesn't mean your family's always going to be, or doesn't necessarily
Blood.
have
Yeah,
to be,
exactly.
yeah, the family that is the ones that are really going to love you and
Yeah,
accept you for who you
absolutely.
are.
And I think that this movie did a great job at kind of pushing that with also being just a fun, exciting film. But
Oh yeah.
it's surprisingly not as happy. And I think again,
Yeah.
James Gunn said he looked at successful sequels and he's like, what can I do to make this successful? Empire Strikes Back does not end on a happy note, you know? Like, there's no cliffhanger in this one or anything like that.
Yeah, it comes to a
Yeah,
pretty
it
solid
does. And they set
conclusion.
it up relatively well for Infinity War because this one's set just a few months after the original Guardians. That's why Groot hasn't grown much. But anyway.
Oh, hold on. Well, we're thinking of talking about Groot growing up. I love the part in the mid-credits scene where Peter walks in and Groot's a
Yeah, and his
teenager at this
room's
point,
messy.
sitting there
Yeah.
playing his games, and he's like, "I'm tired of," and he realizes he's essentially become a father to
Yeah.
Groot at that point. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not the cool dad."
he's like
Yeah.
he's got hair and it looks like some emo kid from 2005 with like stuck in his face and he's playing video games and his room's a mess
And
and
he's
yeah.
like
I
mocking
am
Star-Lord in his
Groot.
own "I am
Yeah.
Groot."
It's awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Okay, let's talk about the visuals real quick, then we'll get to the post-credit scenes cuz there's like 5 of them. Yeah.
There was 3 or 4.
So visuals overall, what you think? Yeah,
Freaking
I
stunning.
think this is one of the craziest visually spectacular films I've ever seen.
I still think Doctor Strange had better visuals, but I can justify it. There were some parts when they first got to Ego, the planet, I mean, that it just looked like they were standing in front of a green screen.
Go ahead.
I was like, man, this is kind of depressing.
I agree with you, and I thought about that because to me, it doesn't look like they're standing in front of a green screen. It almost feels like a surreal world, like almost like The Hobbit when he's running through Middle Earth in certain places. I felt like it was kind of like that, but again, it's this world that Ego has literally created. So it's supposed to be like this trippy kind of surreal, weird world.
And it kind of had, because at the start of the movie, we see Ego on Earth with Peter Quill's mom driving in the car, and it's the 70s.
That digitally de-aging was amazing, by the way. Yeah,
it was the 80s?
Because it's the year he was born, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, to kind of go off of that, I kind of feel like if you think of a planet that would have existed in the 80s in someone's mind, the planet Ego, like the physical planet, was kind of true. It was kind of like that late 70s trip.
I never thought of that, dude. That's kind of a good observation. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, still doesn't make me think it looked really fake.
I feel you. Also, that digitally de-aging Kurt Russell, that was amazing, man. He looked exactly like he did in like Big Trouble in Little China. Like I thought that was great. I thought the visuals were crazy. I thought they were super cool. Especially the space battles. The Yondu funeral scene I thought was really cool and kind of touching.
The visual effects for that were
and also roof. Ego's kind of castle I thought was really, really cool as well. So they're great. Yeah, if you don't, for any listeners, if you're
not nitpicky, like
exactly. Why don't you get out of here? You're supposed to be gone already. For any listeners who, for some reason, don't like this movie, or don't like Guardians of the Galaxy, which you're crazy, you will get a visual spectacle out of this, regardless of what you get, because it is a very cool and just cosmic, spacey kind of movie. It's really fun. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. All right, post-credit scenes. So, what was the first one? Was it Was it
Oh
Sean
goodness.
Gunn?
Let me
Was
pull
it
up
him messing
Wikipedia.
with the arrow? Because Yondu gives
I
his first mate. Okay.
yes, that was it.
Yondu gives
I
his
do
first
believe.
mate his new fin and his arrow, and this arrow is essentially to
Played by who again?
Sean
Who's he
Gunn,
played
James
by?
Gunn's brother, the director's brother.
Also known as Kurt from gosh,
Is it
Gilmore
really?
Girls.
That's great.
Yeah, I think he is. He's Kurt from Gilmore
Okay.
Girls. Because I leaned over to my dad, I was like, "Is that
Yeah.
Kurt from Gilmore Girls?" Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
Cool.
Wait,
Yep.
Rob
Gilmore
Zombie
Girls.
was in
I
that
think
movie?
his cameo got cut. I think.
It says here that Rob Zombie has a cameo as a
Okay. Yeah.
Ravager.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
Kraglin is his
a
name
voice
in the
cameo.
movie. Sean Gunn's.
It's just a
Oh.
voice
Okay.
cameo.
Well, Miley Cyrus was in it too.
But yeah, she was one of
Yeah,
the
she was one of
old
the
school.
original Guardians. Which is
Mhm.
it's actually I can't remember what his name is. But he is he is Vision's conscious.
Sylvester
Yeah, as
Stallone.
Vision. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone's in it as Starhawk. So we get a look at the original Guardians from the year 3000 when they were originally in it, and that's one of the post-credit scenes. We also do see Howard the Duck, not in a post-credit scene, but briefly in a
Yeah, he was just kind
space
of
harem.
I face palmed when I saw him again.
I kind of.
I was like, man.
I know they won't add him more, but I'm happy to. Oh, we also kind of got somewhat of a confirmation of what people have thought for years and years and years. Yeah.
About Stan Lee's
so
character.
for those of you who don't know comics or don't know this theory, in the Marvel Universe, there are a race called the Watchers, and their goal essentially, or their job, is to just watch what happens throughout the universe, and they can't really interfere. Anyway, they're giant Vin Diesel headed men. They're really bald and round, and they're really tall, and they just watch things. And there has been a theory throughout all these movies, because Stan Lee appears in essentially every Marvel movie, actually every Marvel movie in a cameo, that Stan Lee is Uatu, who is the Watcher who watches over Earth. Well, we see Stan Lee in a spacesuit talking to the Watchers, and he's like, last time I was a mailman, which was in Civil War, which is actually set 2 years ahead of this, but that's probably just a funny thing he's saying. So he's credited as a Watcher informant. So people are thinking they're going to add something with Stan Lee. I don't know. I think that it's just something that kind of...
I thought he was done with
he has
cameos.
filmed like 6 or 7, and I think people think in case he dies, because he's 94 now. He's getting up there. So he's filmed a ton for future movies. 94, yeah, he is 94. So
Jeez.
Yeah, it's
Hard to
crazy.
believe.
So anyway, so I thought that was awesome. I was like super excited, and then the last one was we didn't really talk about the gold race of people.
Wait, I feel like we're missing a couple.
So the Arrow, Stan Lee, Baby Groot, or Teenage Groot.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess we did kind of cover them all in Teenage Group. Okay,
and so we didn't really
Continue
talk
on.
about this, which is kind of a major point of the film that gets the film started off.
Yeah, they're like they're the main villains.
They're called
in the grand scheme of things.
The Exalted. No, the. Hold on, I'm about to look it up. This is podcasting at its finest, right here.
We're so good at this.
The Sovereign. They're called the Sovereign, and I didn't look. I actually didn't.
Yeah,
I remembered that. So, haha, losers. Okay, so they're called the Sovereign, and they're gold people. And at first, they start out as this race who you think is like the peak of civilization, and they're really.
Yeah, they're like the ultimate race.
And so they're very highly offended, and the Guardians are doing a job for them. Well, Rocket steals these batteries from them, and that's kind of what has them chased off. They're like really important batteries. They're like Duracell, like double the battery juice, like probably triple.
Apparently, they're worth like what 400 credits per battery or something on the black market.
Anyway, they're really expensive batteries. Anyway.
Oh, and
Go
here's,
ahead.
well, hold on real quick. I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna make another godlike comparison, like I have been all
Man, you're
episode.
out of control.
Um, the yeah, I know, right? This is like you said, my swan song. The people, the oh god, what's the
The
name again?
Sovereign.
What's the race? Yeah, the sovereign are kind of like the Kryptonians in Man of Steel. They're like, we are breeding the
Yeah,
ultimate,
essentially.
the best we possibly can, and that's they're really
But
egotistic
it
about it.
turns out that they're like a bunch of pretentious kids whose dad sent them to college, and like they all wear Sperry's and
Gucci.
like short khaki shorts, and they all wear those fishing shirts, and they're all in frats. Like that's essentially what they're like.
Yeah, yeah.
There
They're a
really
giant
is,
frat.
like, because
A
they're
whole
like there are
race.
times they digitally pilot these ships, and they sound like Galaga. They like use the kind of the Galaga sounds as they're digitally piloting these, and they're just a bunch of like pretentious losers, and it's really funny to watch them.
I had like a little kind of odd moment. I know we talked about
Uh-huh.
the show earlier. I kind of had a Black Mirror kind of moment with like their little like
Okay.
ship room thing. Kind of reminded me of the episode where
Oh, the
the
bicycle
bicycle
episode. Yeah.
riders.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel you. I feel you on that one. Okay. And so anyway, so that's what kind of is the driving force, and they're kind of in the background, push
They're
pulling
really
the
pulling the
strings to
strings.
try and get to the Guardians because they stole something from them. Anyway, so at the end in the last post credit scene, they're still mad at the Guardians, and so Aisha, who is the leader of the Sovereign, says, you know, she's building something.
She's getting ready to go to court to explain why she couldn't catch the
Yeah, but she's
Guardians.
building.
Or
Yeah, but she's
a
making
hearing.
something that will be able to solve their problem with the Guardians. And she's like, I think I'll
Yeah,
name
she's like,
him
I will fix this.
Adam, which is, of course, a
Adam.
reference to all of our comic book fans out there who knows if there are any. It's a reference to Adam Warlock, who is a really, really important player in the Marvel Universe. I freaked out when that happened, and my girlfriend was like, what are you doing? Like, you're such a loser.
My dad was like, wait, is that a big deal? I'm like, oh,
Which we
Dad,
saw his
it
cocoon in
is.
the original Guardians in a post-credit scene.
Which is weird considering they put the cocoon in there, but then yet
Yeah,
he's being made by
James
the
Gunn
Sovereign.
wanted to add him in this movie, but he felt like he didn't have the time to develop him because he's such an important character. So I assumed.
Isn't he really a Sovereign in like the comics?
No,
I
he
forget.
is created on Earth as like the ultimate human being, and then he's imbued with the Soul Stone, which is one of the Infinity Stones or Soul Gem, and then he becomes just a really powerful character in the universe. Like he was created as him, like him was his original name, and he was like one of the very powerful cosmic characters. So anyway, so they're creating
Yeah.
Adam Warlock.
I remember reading somewhere that like someone's iteration of him had him like created by
Oh, really? Okay.
Sovereigns
So
or
it's
something
not
like that.
it's not
Yeah.
completely out of the blue. Okay.
It's not too far out. I'm just going off of something
Right.
that I
I'll have
read
to check that out.
afterwards.
I haven't read much of Adam Warlock. The only thing I really know him from is the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, which he's like featured very heavily in.
Oh yeah, because he's like the
Yeah,
holder
yeah.
of one of them, and he later becomes
Yeah,
the holder
he
of
has the
all of
Infinity
them.
Gauntlet at one point. Yeah.
At least in the comics.
So I don't think that he'll be in Infinity War.
We don't know how
I
Marvel's
think
gonna
that
do it.
I actually think James Gunn's going to save it for Guardians 2 or 3, which will be after both
3.
parts or Infinity War and the Untitled Avengers 4 project. So, unfortunately, I don't think we'll get to see him then. We might, but we'll see.
I'm kind of ticked about that because we keep getting like these teasers for him, and he's a huge
he
deal.
really is.
But like we're
I
not
think that
getting him
once this
part of the
kind of
story.
iteration of the Avengers kind of goes by, I think they'll push for more cosmic stuff. So because we're getting Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, who
and she's
very
pretty
much
intergalactic.
so.
If
And
memory
I
serves
think
correct.
personally, because I didn't know they had the Watchers, Marvel did. I think that there's some dealings going on if they already don't, because there are 3 untitled Avengers or Marvel projects in 2020. I know one is Guardians 3, but I think one of them is Fantastic Four. And I think that with Fantastic Four, you get a ton. Yeah, you get a
That could be
ton of
interesting.
cosmic stuff. Doctor Doom, man, I want to see it back at Marvel.
Maybe we could get a good version of
Yeah, not a
Galactus
giant
this time
space
around.
fart. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, guys, it is a blast. Go see it. All right, you ready to get into the next segment?
Final
Okay.
score real
Yeah,
quick
that's
for
right.
the
If you've
movie
seen
out of
my
10.
review, which you probably haven't, or maybe you have, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. What about you, Haste?
I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Well, you're just wrong, incorrect.
Well, like I said, I was, for some odd reason, I was really nitpicky about this. I don't know why. It's normally not my type of person to be so nitpicky about a movie, but
it's all about dim
like
standards, man.
I wanted it to be as good as the first, and it fell that little bit.
And I think
flat for me.
that's going to be how it is with a lot of people. I'm going to go see it again this week, and generally after I see a movie a second time, and I've actually heard this with people about this movie specifically, that's when they really get into it, and that's kind of how I am. Like, first time is a lot of shock and awe because I'm excited for it, and this time will be, all right, now let me get into the nitty-gritty of this, and I really enjoy it, I think, more the second time.
And you'll be more like ready for the
absolutely,
the movie is.
Cool. All right, so 8 out of 10 and 7.5 out of 10. That's relatively close. Guys, go out and see it. It's a good movie. You'll have a good time. So let's get into the next segment of the show, and that is What You Watching, Mate? Haste. What you watching, mate?
I'm a terrible person. I haven't watched much of anything lately.
You call yourself a movie fella.
I went back and rewatched Warcraft.
What'd you think of it?
Like week and a half.
After this. Okay.
It still holds up. Holds up pretty well to me. Visual effects are still stunning. The orcs' faces are still a little bit goofy at times. And I think I fell asleep during a part of it just because it was like 11:30 when I tried to watch it, and I'm usually far asleep by then, but it's definitely still one of my favorite movies. The visual effects are just off the wall.
Anything else?
And oh gosh, no, not really. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of everything wrong with, which is probably why I was so nitpicky going into Guardians.
Cool. Well, I've been watching like I said, I rewatched Captain America Winter Soldier. It's a good movie. That is a really, really good movie.
Yeah, definitely an amazing
And then
movie.
I went and saw Beauty and the Beast with my girlfriend on Sunday night, which we record these on a Wednesday night, and then we release them on Saturdays. So I saw this a few days ago. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it dragged a little bit. I thought it was a bit long, especially for what I suppose is a kids movie. Dude,
coming out of it, did you think it was really much of a kids movie?
No, it wasn't. I can see like maybe older kid, like I guess 8 and up. I guess I wouldn't see it because I don't think you'll get the themes of it if you see it and you're younger than that. And also the Beast can be kind of scary in points. So,
oh, did you get scared?
Yes, I did. That's Spencer's the name of my girlfriend, by the way, guys. But yes, I was horrified. No, not for me. In all honesty, dude, I thought the Beast. Have you seen it? Okay. Yeah,
no,
I didn't have any.
We know how I feel about live action.
I didn't have
remakes.
much of a desire to see it, but I'm like, well, actually, I did. I was kind of interested to see how it ended up because I really enjoyed Cinderella, the live action remake, Kenneth Branagh, and I thought Jungle Book was really good too. But it was good. It was enjoyable. I'd recommend it. But I thought the Beast looked really cartoonish, and I think that they did that sometimes on purpose. Because they didn't want to horrify children coming in with this giant beast monster, but I just thought, I didn't think the CGI was that great, in all honesty. Like, there were times where they were dancing and it looked like Matrix Reloaded, like cutscene, like video cutscene.
Gosh.
It did not look real. And maybe it was a compression issue because sometimes when it got closer up, it looked better. But anyway, That was my one thing about it. So I rewatched Winter Soldier. I watched that. I enjoyed it. And I rewatched a movie I've never seen before. No, that's not true. I can't rewatch a movie you've never seen before. Gonna be a real shock
like,
to
wait,
our
what?
faithful listeners. I watched Avatar again because I convinced Spencer to watch it with me, and she got really bored halfway through, and I was like super intensely watching the movie like I do every single time.
And she's like, I'm bored of this, and you're like, I'm
She's
too
like,
enthralled to pay attention to
that's
you
so
right
true.
now.
She's like, when's the next one coming out? I'm like, 2020. She's like, that's 11 years after this came out. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, see, she's on my side with this. It's
I love that movie.
ridiculous.
It's so good. Oh man, it never gets old. I never get tired of watching that movie. Go ahead.
Speaking of what you I remember
There you
something
go.
for what you watching, mate. I sent you and Norris a text message last Thursday or Friday that was like, "Hey, Scrub Lords, A24 just uploaded a sick trailer to their YouTube page."
No, I did not.
Did you watch it, dude? Okay. Once we're done, we're just stay in the Skype call, and you're gonna watch that freaking trailer. There's a trailer for a new movie called "It Comes at Night," I think was the name of it. But I'm normally not a horror fan, but this just looks so good. It's definitely A24 has been one of those production companies that's really blown up over the past like 2 or 3 years because they've done all these really obscure kind of artsy.
He's a big name actor. Wow.
Yeah, he's pretty. It's just a cool trailer. We'll talk about it later, but yeah, A24 kind of blew up. They've been doing like the artsy, more like Sundance-esque, like what you think of Sundance style films, but this just looks so intense and so just crazy. But yeah, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, It Comes at Night, A24. I don't remember. I think it comes out in like the next couple weeks.
Cool.
So definitely keep your eyes up for that.
Well, is there anything you're gonna watch this week? You're planning on watching? I said I was gonna watch John Wick. I think last week or something, and I keep not doing it.
Man,
I know I'm a terrible person.
Liar. Between now and the next time we record, I'm gonna see
Absolutely. We'll probably review that one.
That's without a doubt. I'm gonna go see King Arthur because I really want to. I think I'm gonna go see Guardians 2 sometime the next week with a friend. So I mean, I'm honestly like compiling a list in a Word document for movies I am.
There you go.
Going to start watching, and it's getting pretty lengthy. So it's mostly a lot of older
I think
movies,
I'm gonna rewatch Prometheus,
more famous ones,
before Alien Covenant, and I still have not seen Alien 3 and 4.
Didn't you hear that?
Yes, I have, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
There was another.
Go ahead.
There was another piece of news about Alien that I forget. I think it was Ridley Scott essentially said, I forget who it was, but they're like, their Alien 5 is never.
Neil
gonna
Blomkamp was
like
gonna direct it. The director of District 9, but
he said this past week that it's never gonna happen.
Ridley Scott has like 3 more films planned, or 2 more films planned for the Alien prequel series. Ridley Scott's 79, dude.
Really?
Like, I hope he can make them because I love Ridley Scott, but
and Prometheus was what, 2012?
2012, I think. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Man, that's not too bad. We've waited a lot longer for sequels. So
yeah, I hope he can pump them
knows?
out. But I'd love to see Neil Blomkamp do one. But anyway, maybe that'll happen. I'm gonna rewatch Prometheus. I'm gonna do those, and I think I'm gonna try and finish Iron Fist because I saw the Defenders trailer and it looks sweet. So
Oh, I haven't seen the
check that
Defenders
out.
trailer yet.
It's cool. It's got some sweet grunge band from the 90s that everyone loves music. I can't
sweet.
it's
not Alice in Chains. I'm just gonna be in love.
It's Nirvana. Anyway, yeah. Anyway,
I was so excited for Jane.
Yeah, I know you're a big Alice in Chains fan. Oh, well. All right, you got anything else, Haste?
Nope. Yeah,
cool.
Good episode.
Well, let's just close it out real quick, guys. If you want to reach the show, we are moviefellaspod@gmail.com. You can shoot us an email. We are @moviefellaspod on Twitter. You can ask us a question, send us some sweet memes, send us some sweet disses, comment on one of our YouTube videos. You can find us on YouTube at MovieFellas Podcast, and also
insult Matt.
Yes.
Tell me
I'm
great.
Do all of those things and more on MovieFellas Podcast, and you can find that on YouTube. Also, you can find our podcast on iTunes, and that is if you search MovieFellas, and that's capital M and capital F, podcast, capital P, you will be able to find us on YouTube or iTunes and download that. We're on Facebook as well, MovieFellas Podcast. Guys, check us out. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. We're almost to that sweet double-digit number. We'll just reap those sweet rewards. And remember, hashtag The Rock for Prez with the C. And as always, guys, you need to gladiate it up. We'll see you in a couple weeks, all right?
I love you. Bye, everybody.